Hello and welcome to another episode of Games Initiative Podcast, episode 17 I believe, and we've got with me as always Red Dead Panda. Hello Red Dead Panda.
Thank you so much for introducing me so lovely this week, Elite Gaming Guru, and getting my name right.
Yeah.
I would gift you an Xbox if I could for you getting my name right this week. Lovely to be here as always, and let's get into this.
Yes, we've got
Where
quite a
can
lot
we
of
find
topics.
you, Elite?
Well, you can find me here on YouTube and on Twitter. I've still not put my Twitter name down. I need to do that. I can't remember what it is because it's like weird, something weird. It just gives me a generator one. So I need to write it down somewhere and stick it on the channel. That's what I'll start doing.
I need to send you the new background. So
Oh yeah,
I'll
we
get
need
to
that for my Twitter. Yeah. It's interesting since joining it. Yeah, I've already blocked people. There's so many idiots on there, and it's incredible. So where can we find you? Hello.
You can find me on. Sorry.
Oh.
You can find me on Twitter at Red Dead Panda 1, and that is the number 1. And you can find me on Xbox Live at Red Dead Panda 871. Is it 871? Oh my god, why can't I remember it today? And you can also find me on YouTube at Red Dead Panda Gaming. When I have a life, I will do something about that.
Yeah. You know what, perhaps maybe the background that we have showing on here, maybe we should put our Twitter handles on there.
Oh, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
When I send you the...
Oh yeah, okay, cool. Right, so let's get into this because we've got lots to talk about. And first off, our first topic is going to be, of course, state of play. Because we get a lot of people saying, oh, we never cover PlayStation news. Well, we do. They say we only cover the
We
negative.
do, it's just mainly negative.
Yeah, mainly negative. They go, oh, you never cover positive PlayStation news. That's what people say in our comments. That's because, let's be honest, there's not much positive PlayStation news. It's only Xbox positive Xbox news. I mean, to be honest, what positive PlayStation news has there been recently?
The acquisition for House Marquee, I was very positive about that.
You covered that last week, yeah.
Covered that. Yeah. Nexus or Nexus, whatever. Yep, covered that. Yeah. Talked about them.
Yep, that the games are going to PC. That's very positive.
I'm generally, obviously I do prefer Xbox clearly, but I'm generally, I think, pretty, I would say middle ground, or try to be middle ground and be fair about stuff. But I'm going to call stuff out if I don't agree with it.
Bad stuff.
If it completely makes no sense, I'm going to call it out. You're going to call it out, yeah. We call out Xbox if they do something, which is a lot less.
When we went for E3, we said some of the games in E3 weren't very good. Didn't like them.
Yeah, that Halo looks pretty rubbish, eh?
Yeah, awful.
God.
We downplayed some. We said some of the games they showed at E3 weren't great. But anyway.
Yeah.
But let's cover state of play. So shall we start off with the first game they showed, which was a Moss Book 2?
This was that VR game you were talking about, right?
Was there a Moss Book 1? Didn't remember that at all.
Yeah, it was on the PS4. I'm pretty sure. I think was that a VR game as well? I can't remember.
I guess so.
But I was actually. Do you want to lead in on this one?
Yeah. So the show started off obviously with this, and from the get-go, I thought, wow, this looks really bad. This is why I'm glad. This is why Microsoft said they're not invested in VR, because the quality is just not there. Let's be honest. The game looked. Graphic-wise, it did look like a PS3 game. It looked very basic, very generic, and it just doesn't. It did look very average. There's no way I'd invest £500 on a VR just to play games like this. And at the end of the day, it's just one game. I mean, you need to invest in VR, especially for next gen. You have to buy a whole new kit because their peripherals are not cross-gen, are they? So you'd have to buy a whole new VR for PS5, and you just don't want to fork out more money for just this game, to be honest. You want a nice library of games for you, even invest in something. And this game just isn't. It looked bad. What did you think?
I was actually pretty surprised. I know it was a state of play, and PlayStation did come out and kind of preempt saying don't get your hopes up. But I guess my first thought was, why show this as the first game? Yes, I guess it was nice to say, hey, we're moving forward and VR is coming with us. And you'll be able to play this on the PS4 VR, and when the PS5 VR is available, you'll be able to play that. So I guess that was nice. I don't know. This was, I mean, the first one had very similar looking art style to it. But I think for you to just write off VR there, VR's not for me. I get motion sickness quite easily, but I mean, Half-Life Alyx was actually really, really good on VR. So I guess this is just the engine, and it didn't give me any reason to want to play VR, just how it looked and where it's at. But it's not my sort of game to play as a mouse, and yeah, I don't know. It kind of missed the mark, and to open up a state of play with that, I guess the only thing behind it is the fact that they're saying, "Hey, VR is still something we're doing," and we knew that. But to actually kind of, I guess, throw that out and show this game as the, "Hey, we're still supporting VR," I think that was a real miss on their part. A huge misjudgment. They should have led with something else that's in the works, that's in VR, that has that going. This is why you want a PS5 VR. Like, this is why you don't need to hold on to your PS4. Yeah.
Because the thing about last gen, they really pushed VR and just trying to make it a thing. It's the next generation thing, and all their fans were jumped on board that going, "Yeah, Xbox rubbish because it doesn't have VR." And then the start of this gen, just silence. So they just thought, we don't want VR anymore. And then they just slowly creep in with one or two games. But it's just they obviously, if it wasn't popular, let's be honest, they keep saying, the sales. It wasn't popular. It wasn't big. It was very niche. And it's exactly why Phil said he's not going to get invested in it until it becomes mainstream. And it won't be mainstream for at least another generation.
Yeah, I agree with you. It needs another generation to at least the technology to catch up to, I guess, people's idea of what VR should be and the experience it should offer, and that's why Phil isn't offering it at this point. But I just think it was a huge misstep leading with this VR title. Something else that had a bit more staying power, or even a new IP within the virtual reality world, which actually made you go, okay, I know I need to invest in PlayStation VR at some point. Like, if I've got I can just invest in the PS5 one later on, and I will be getting my money's worth out of it. This was just stupid. I don't think they should have led with this.
No.
I mean, in comparison, and I know we can't compare State of Play to E3, but in comparison, like, if anyone had shown a game like that to lead their show or anything like that, I think would have just been a huge misstep. The E3 wasn't great in regards to everyone except, I guess, Microsoft and Bethesda's show. So if they had who was it? Ubisoft and all of them had led with a title like this, I think it would have just been crickets.
I think in comparison, did E3 open with Back 4 Blood? Did it open?
No, it ended with Back 4 Blood. It opened with Starfield.
Oh yeah. See, that's the comparison. You've got one game that opens with Starfield, which everyone's can't wait to see, and then their one opens with a VR title, which no one's even got PS5 VR yet, have they? So it's like,
I mean, Xbox even said to temper our expectations for E3, but I think that was just so that we held ourselves in check and we're actually pleased by what was on display rather than letting it run away. But I think PlayStation fans have been quite loyal and very, very starved of seeing what's coming into the future.
Still no God of War.
They must have felt pretty shocked to see that's the first game in the State of Play, even though they were told to temper the expectations.
But it gets better from there. Should we move on?
Oh my god, yeah, it gets worse, don't you mean?
So we got Arcadegeddon.
Arcadegeddon.
So this is made by. I know all this because Red's done some fantastic notes here for me. It's a hero shooter. I cannot remember this game, to be honest. Hero shooter out of the early access. Oh, so they're using early access now, are they? Because all their fans are against early access and said it's a rip-off.
Yes. But, so it's launching like how Grounded launched.
Yeah. So that's allowed now. Okay. From the makers of Friday the 13th and Underground. Now, firstly, I played Friday the 13th. It was fun, but it was very, very basic. And then I thought it would have been improved for Predator Hunting Grounds, and it didn't. And that game was also really bad.
It looked like that Splatoon multiplayer type art style, type of art style.
And then you've got this game. They don't seem to be improving they've churning out games quite quickly, but don't seem to be really improving much as a developer. I mean, the last game, Predator Hunting Grounds, they only came out last year. You'd think they'd focus a bit more on that. They seem to just dump the project and moved on.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think Friday the 13th and then Predator Hunting Grounds obviously Predator was a better iteration of what came out on Friday the 13th, so it was an improvement. And I feel like Arcadegeddon is going to be an improvement on top of that. It looks like they might be a little bit bigger.
But
Feels
Predator
like they
got
might be a
slaughtered
bit
in
of a bigger
reviews, though.
studio.
I think it rated about 50,
Yeah.
51%. Because
Well,
it only had one mode, apparently.
Yeah. Well, this is your multiplayer fight each other game. So what did you think of this?
So I can't remember it at all, to be honest. I probably did watch it, but I cannot remember it being there. I probably glazed over it. I didn't realise who made it as well. Because it's odd that they've gone now exclusive, so Sony must be paying them money, because they weren't... Friday the 13th wasn't exclusive. So they must be throwing money at this developer. So it's quite interesting.
Well, I mean, PC and PS5 next year.
Yeah.
So that's when it's full releases, but it'll come out in early access now on PlayStation 5. I don't know if it's early access on PC. I would assume so. But, I mean, if we look at what we understand about what PlayStation's antics are around developers, and especially indie devs, and showing stuff on their stage, or in this case, on YouTube, where was I going with that? I totally lost my train of thought, guys. That they probably had to pay something to get their game out there, and I don't think. I mean, PlayStation is probably vying for games to show because I don't feel like they have a lot in the tanks at the moment. Like I know there's big titles coming, but I don't think they're quite there yet. COVID's probably impacted PlayStation's release plans with a lot of third-party developers. So this was a big indie showcase. I thought this game looked rubbish, to be honest. I would rather play Splatoon all day, every day than give this game a chance. And I know that sounds horrible to say, like the devs put a lot of hard work into it, but it's just another game. I mean, Splatoon has this beautiful market on Nintendo Switch because it came out there first, so it has a huge following. There are so many other games with a huge following. It's really hard to make a splash with that type of genre game.
Did it win a Game of the Year award? Splatoon as well. I think get mad on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think this is a big. I think to go from start with Moss Book 2 and then go into Arcadegeddon, that was like 2 hours in a row, and like I said, the PlayStation fans who are loyal must have felt like shit going, oh my god, it's got to get better from here. It's got to get better from here. And then kind of did. It kind of did. Yeah, Tribes of Midgard looked okay. It reminded me of Diablo in that regard. And it looks like it would be something that could tide you over until Diablo 2 Resurrection comes around.
But do you know what I didn't like about
I don't know how I feel about the art style.
No, the art style wasn't as good. It didn't look as dark. And what I didn't like about it is if you listen to it, you have to unlock classes. So I think you only start with a couple of classes. I think there's 8 classes you can play, but you have to unlock them, which I don't like that. I don't see. So you have to play through the game as a class you don't really want to play, just so you can unlock a class that you can play, or you want to play. I don't like that idea. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
So for example, if you want to play a wizard, but you have to play a fighter, and you have to play through the game as that person before going back and then doing it all again, but with a wizard.
That's really similar to did you ever play Dragon's Dogma? It was a single player game done by Capcom. That was really, really good, but you had to play through certain classes to unlock different variations of their classes and such. And it meant that you would consistently be changing your class and your pawn's class and everything like that. I liked that style, but it did make it harder if you just wanted to play a specific class the whole way through. Yeah. And I feel like that's where you've got a disadvantage. It should go, hey, pick any class, and that's the class you start with, and then you can unlock the other class.
Because if it's going to be a bunch of...
I feel like...
Did it say it's 8-player? Or was that another game? That was the Xbox game, wasn't it? And that was...
Yeah, that was Diablo 2's 8-player multiplayer, but this one... I don't know. It's coming out July 27th, so I feel like it's gonna it got some people's attention because it did kind of hit the right tone, especially after the first 2 games. It was a little bit of a spark and a somewhat really slow beginning. Yeah. So
moving on to Fist. What do you think of Fist?
That's that one with that rabbit.
Yeah.
A rabbit side-scrolling jumping thing. I don't know. It was a side scroller.
Should we move on?
It's coming out on the PS5 and PS4 on
Yeah.
September 7th.
September.
But okay, I liked the beginning cinematic. Where you realize it's this like hair, and he's actually this cool Japanese accent, and he looks kind of like he can kick someone's ass. And then it moved to the side scroller, and you lost me at that.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying about that game. You lost me
It's like a
at
lot
the
of
side scroller.
PlayStation games. They draw you in with the cutscenes and that, and say
I-
build you up, and then
I
you watch
thought-
the gameplay. It's like, ugh.
Yeah, I thought this would have been way better as like a oh my god, what's the game?
Kind of like Hades.
What's the game with Jade? Beyond Good and Evil. There we go.
Oh, okay.
I feel like this would have been cooler as like a Beyond Good and Evil type world type
Yeah.
thing, a third person rather than a side scroller. I understand obviously indies have their idea and scope for the game and what they can and can't do, but just the world, maybe if they get some support in behind them, if they get another chance to make a sequel to this game, they could definitely change how it.
Yeah. Right. Hunters Arena Legends. It's a live service dress-up brawler where you fight demons and other players. And this is coming to early access as well, so they're jumping on the early access bandwagon there, aren't they? And it's coming to PS Plus, so it's gone straight into their version of Game Pass, which finally they're doing
August
that. They
3rd.
should be doing that a long
August
time ago.
3rd.
Yeah.
So that sounds like it's coming day one, guys.
Why don't they why don't they put these indie games into PS Plus to just draw more people into PS Plus, just like Game Pass does? I don't know why they do that.
Yeah, I think they're testing the waters because this is a game like live service game. So if they can get people regularly paying into the PS Plus, if they like Hunters Arena Legends, then it might be a way of getting people to stay in on the service because they get access. I can't remember. They download it free from 3rd of August to like something in September.
Are they aware
I can't
PS
remember.
players hate live services though, and hate doing pay as you go sort of things?
You're generalizing now. They're just a die by the sword, or die by the PlayStation story-driven exclusive.
Yeah.
Those fans will hate it, but the people who actually play normal games, and actually treat each other with respect, will probably. I don't know. Who knows? This game looks trash to me. To be honest, the trailer was cringe.
Yeah.
The trailer was cringe. When you it was quite interesting watching the cutscenes in it, and they looked more interesting than the live gameplay scenes. And I was like, the cutscenes with the fighting is quite scripted, and then you move into the fight, and it honestly the world kind of looked empty, and it just looked boring. And I was like, cringe on the trailer, cringe on the gameplay. I wouldn't play this. If this was coming to Xbox, it would be a hard pass for me.
Yeah.
Even if it was coming to Game Pass day one, it would still be a hard pass from me.
Yeah. Right. Well, I wonder if it'd be download on or stream on PS Plus. That's interesting. Imagine playing that stream.
It's downloadable.
Oh, right, okay, that'd be a nightmare.
It's downloadable.
Right. So Sifu. That's still coming out. That's delayed.
Yep. So it was going to come out 2021. It's coming out 2022 now.
Yeah.
What did you think of this? Because I know that you were like that Absolver game was quite.
Yeah, because I like Absolver games, and we've got the other one coming to Xbox soon, haven't we? What's it called? Or a game like it, the Origami, isn't it? Origami 2. I like
something
these
like that.
kind of games. I liked Absolver. It's quite tough. It's like quite a learning curve because it's like a proper brawler where you have proper combat, like Mortal Kombat, proper moves and stuff, but in a sort of open world setting. So I like that. So I'd like the look of this. This looks interesting. Because this isn't though exclusive, is it? This is coming to Xbox. I think it's just timed exclusive. Because Absolver was originally exclusive to PS4, and then it come to Xbox. Oh, and it was on Game Pass. Yeah, because I downloaded it and played it. Yeah. But that was on.
I don't actually know.
PS for a year. I think it's just timed exclusivity. I don't think it's put. So
Possibly,
I'll wait for this to come on Game Pass, which it will. But I like the look of this. This is one of the games. I think this is.
What did you think of the aging?
Only one of two games that only one of two games that I liked throughout the whole show. It's aging thing's an interesting take on it. See how that goes though. Is every time you die you age? Oh, I guess it is.
I don't know if it's die. I mean, like lose the battle, get like maybe hit in a specific way, or who knows. They weren't very clear on that, but I feel like maybe it's just once you've kind of they've done enough hits on you. Who knows?
And I wonder if does aging affect your fighting technique? Do you slow down? Does it get harder as you die?
I reckon it'll be a bit of that. It depends what age you are, because I
Yeah.
reckon as you get older, you get wiser.
Yeah. Do you
But then you'll also start, if you get too old, you start to slow down. Yeah.
You get less stamina and things like that. It'd be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
I mean, the art style for that game is beautiful.
Yeah.
Compare it. Think back to its showing last year, and think back to its showing now. What do you reckon about the state of the game?
I think the game's coming on good, and I think it looks nice, and I like the interaction, because I think if I recall, you can do things like interact with. You can like smash their face up against walls and things, and interact. Yeah. It's almost it reminds me like a I don't know, like one of those, like a proper movie, sort of these movies you get now with Jason Statham or something like that. You just sort of interact with everything. You can smash go to town on people. I like the look of it.
Art style was beautiful. It looked a lot sharper.
But it's like Observer.
It looked better.
Yeah,
it looks cleaner.
A cleaner, yeah, exactly. Cleaner, sharper version of Absolver, a more polished version of Absolver. So it looks good. More detailed version. I should say. Yeah.
And it looked a lot better than it did last year, and it looked really good last year, in my opinion. So for it to improve that much,
I don't think Absolver's in Game Pass anymore. I'd have to look. But if anyone watching this, if you're unsure about this game, go and play Absolver. So that would give you an idea.
It's a good tip there.
Yeah, it's give you an idea of what this game's like. If you don't like Absolver, then you won't like this game. Because I said it's a massive learning curve. Some of the fights you have, some of the people are quite good.
Now No Man's...
Oh, yeah, Jet.
Continue, Elite.
What is this?
Yeah, I was going to say, the No Man's Sky of the event. Jet the Far Shore.
Is this just
that was that DLC? Really highly artistically stylized game, which just felt like a boring... I mean, I thought the showing of it last year was more interesting than the showing of it this year. It still looked boring as hell.
Yeah, I don't care. So is this I don't care.
They say there's no combat, but then you're like, well, how do you get out of things? So I'm like, I'll just go play No Man's Sky, which I have finally downloaded to play for the first time, guys, because why not play it now when it's actually a full game?
I bought No Man's Sky before it comes to stupidly, annoyingly, put it into Game Pass. I bought it I bought it cheap like that. I had it on sale, which it should be warned that every time a game goes on sale, it means it's going to go Game Pass. Yes, I bought it. People are hyping it up, wouldn't they? People are hyping it up, saying, "No, it's changed now. It's got better." I'll tell you what. I played a few hours of it and deleted it. I didn't. I still don't like it. The graphics are very, very, very basic. For a game that's been out, game that's been out for such a long while, and people keep saying it's improving. The game is very basic still. I didn't like it. I was playing it and thought, this seems like really like this should have been made 20 years ago. This game, very basic, not much to it. The graphics are very just basic as well, and I didn't like it. The gameplay, everything to it was very basic. I deleted it.
I'll give it a go, and then I'll give my thoughts.
Yeah, give it a go on Game Pass. Play an hour of it. It is very much a walking simulator. You're just running around or jetpacking around all over the place, and that's another reason I got bored. I got bored of just running around collecting stuff and nothing much else.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's No Man's Sky. Right, Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, the Hanakomami Chronicles. It's out October 15th on PS4 and PS5. What are you going to say about that? Nothing.
Okay. I'm going to sound horrible about this, and partly the reason why is they say that there are people who just only like certain styles of games. I'm not big into Japanese titles, unless they have something that absolutely draws me in. So some of the art styles aren't my biggest. It's why I don't want to try Scarlet Nexus. It's why I'm struggling with Nier Automata. And I'm definitely not going to play this game.
Yeah, I did like Nier. I deleted that. I played the first level of it, and I thought I've seen enough now. I thought I deleted it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm fine with certain types of art styles, or certain, like, especially for cartoons and other things, but there's certain ones that just put me off.
Yeah.
And this game just reminds me of it's something that I just don't want to see. So, I mean, it might have amazing gameplay to it, just like I know that a lot of people are enjoying Scarlet Nexus, but just the art style alone and the voice acting. Sorry, I don't know what it is. It's it's not really my scene, and I feel horrible for saying that, but I'm just being very authentic about my opinion on what type of games I like and don't like. So I'm sure this hit the right tone for a lot of people out there who wanted the style game, wanted some more Japanese.
But that's a very niche market.
But it definitely,
that's the thing.
Yeah, it didn't hit me at all, and it was a pass from me.
And to be honest, I get bored of all the hack and slashes on PlayStation. So a lot of these games were just hack and slash, really, aren't they?
Xbox is the shooter box, and then PlayStation's the hack and slash box.
Yeah. A lot of the games I showed were basically hack and slash. Lost Judgment.
Lost Judgment. So that's the sequel to Yakuza spin-off Judgment.
Yeah.
So
probably see that Game Pass.
Coming eventually, yeah. So it's part of the Yakuza.
I've not played any
Yakuza. Not much more to
They're
say there.
all on Game Pass. I need to try one of them. I did write in my comments which one's the best one, which I should jump into.
Just do them in the order that you need to do them. I'm playing 0. I have barely started it. It is. I'm giving it a try, guys. I'm giving it a try. It's very not in style with the game that I would normally play. Kind of like how I wouldn't play Demon Slayer and Scarlet Nexus. The art style here is much more palatable. I guess it's just the weirdest mini games. Like when you watch Japanese what type of reality TV show type things where they've got game shows? Game shows. There's a lot of random stuff that kind of throws me. I'm like, I did not see that coming, and it's quite jarring because I feel like it takes me out of the experience of the immersion of the game. But I realize that is very much part of Japanese culture, so I'm trying to be respectful of that, but it's still kind of hard for me to get through that. What about you?
Yeah, so I've not tried in the game, so I can't really pass judgment on this game until I've played.
You've lost judgment.
Yeah, lost judgment. So
you can't pass judgment. No,
and I've not played those games yet, and they're all free in Game Pass. So that sort of says that's what.
Apparently, Like a Dragon, the most recent one is gameplay wise is pretty cool. It's that style of gameplay would be more interesting to me than
the fight. And it's more turn based, isn't it? They've made it turn based.
Yeah, I like turn based. I loved South Park with their turn based fighting.
I know
so much, so good.
So then we go on to number 10, which is the PS5 version of Death Stranding's the director's cut.
That's coming out. It's coming out September 24th.
Yeah. So.
Do you know what I thought about this?
Where should we go in director's cuts?
We're going to talk about director's cuts later. That's another topic.
Save this for last
we'll just. I want to talk about the showing of it in the state of play.
Yeah.
I feel like I learnt more about what Death Stranding is from this trailer than I did watching anything on Death Stranding until now.
Yeah.
How sad is that? And obviously this because it's director's cut, it's got more content in it. So there'll be stuff in there that no one saw in the game. Hopefully that's what you guys saw and were like, oh, a reason to buy it because we never did that in the game. But I got an idea around what Death Stranding was more so than ever before. And I could clearly see all the new content in it. But it looked far more interesting now. So I feel sorry for the people who bought it when it first released on the PS4.
Yeah.
Because I don't
it's only 2 years old, isn't
that game was worth it on the PS4.
Yeah.
Now we're seeing what content's missing. Was missing. But we'll get back to that later. But that's all I wanted to say was the trailer for this was far more interesting. Told me more about Death Stranding than anything. And I've talked to people who've played Death Stranding and spoke to them about what the game is. I've watched people play Death Stranding and I'm just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I still don't understand this game. That made me understand it a little bit more. But yeah, the game's, I don't know.
Sorry.
Kojima.
Hope you can't hear that. But I've got someone hoovering in the background right now. God. Right.
No, I can't hear it.
Good.
You're good.
Yeah. So we got.
Well, I can't, but maybe someone else
can. Yeah. So Deathloop, and then we got Deathloop at the end of the show, is it? So
yeah, Deathloop. It was like 9-minute gameplay.
Yeah. So basically, this was their their main show, and this was the game of the show, basically, wasn't it? So, and this is a first-party Xbox title, which is coming to Xbox, as it said in the advertisement. That's the interesting thing. It advertised it as PS5 exclusive, but underneath it said coming to Xbox September 2022, which is interesting. So yes, what do you think of this game?
I mean, it didn't really show me anything
That you've not already seen.
on top of what that we haven't already seen, other than like a couple of new abilities.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just a Arcane Studio game, right?
Yeah.
So, Dishonored. It looks like it takes a lot of mechanics from that, and they've probably honed that within their engine. So, I mean, not art style, story. The whole thing doesn't really click with me.
No. To be honest, I'm going to say I like this game because otherwise I'll be going back on my word. When I first watched, what they first showed is at E3, wasn't it? Sony's E3 a year or so ago.
Yeah.
And I liked it then. I said, this is one of the few
It wasn't even an
games.
E3. They haven't done an E3
So
in like 500 years.
Or something? Was it Gamescom? Then they showed it, didn't they? Might have been Gamescom. And I remember seeing this game and I said, this is one of the few games I liked out of their entire show. And I still go by it. This is going to be on Game Pass, obviously, so I'll still most definitely download it and play it because I like this kind of game. What I like interested about it is that you're playing through the game, and then other players can jump into your game and try killing you while you're trying to do your missions. So I imagine it's like Hitman. It feels like a Hitman, but there's like players that can jump in and try taking you out. Almost makes it like sort of John Wick style game, isn't it? But I'm sort of looking forward. Obviously, I'm not going to play it. I'm not buy a PlayStation 5 for it, but I'll definitely
You'll just have
pick
a
it up
piece.
on Game Pass. Yeah, definitely pick up a Game Pass when it comes over, and I'm quite looking forward to this game.
I feel sorry for this game, to be honest.
Yeah.
So the exclusivity deal happened prior to the acquisition of Bethesda by Xbox.
Yeah.
And what they're understanding now, PlayStation fans are really starting to comprehend with, is if they like a title, and now Xbox owns that IP, the sequel was coming out on Xbox only as an exclusive.
Yeah.
How PlayStation has been doing it for years, and you didn't complain once. You just shoved it in everyone else's faces that it was an exclusive. If you wanted to get it, get a PlayStation. If you want to play this, get an Xbox or get a PC with your $3,000 PCs and whatever else you've got.
Which is what Push Square recently complained about, didn't they? They said that they really like the look of the game, but they can't be hyped for it anymore, don't like it anymore, because they know that a sequel won't be coming to PlayStation 5. Well, that's still too bad. This is the market you created. This is the market PlayStation fans created. They wanted exclusives. Xbox have followed suit as your command demanded, and this is the market you created. It's an exclusive market. Suck it up now. Got to take it.
You mean they've got to lie in the bed that they've made?
Yeah, exactly. And it's only going to get worse because as Xbox gets more popular, Game Pass builds, they're going to buy more studios and then dump more exclusives in it. And it's how it is. Going forward, it's how it is. Xbox One got slaughtered for not having exclusives. Now Xbox Series X is being slaughtered for having too many exclusives, apparently. So, I mean, it's just ridiculous.
I feel like for this game, there's going to be a market for the PC players because they don't care; they're getting it regardless, so they'll love that game.
Yeah.
But for the PlayStation people, I think their community is going to be a little bit split. There are going to be people who choose to support it because they really want to play it, and they don't care that it's an Xbox game because they've got it exclusive for a year and it's releasing on PlayStation 5 first. There are the people who are like, no, it's Xbox, and if I don't want to. I don't want to give them money, or I don't want to risk loving this title so much that if they do a sequel, then I have to buy a Xbox or a PC. So I feel like it's going to suffer in the PS5 sales.
I'll say then you've got the group that own an Xbox and a PlayStation, but will probably wait until it comes out in Game Pass next year because it's going to release because there's so many other games coming out. I mean, it's not coming out until next year anyway, so. Is it next year or this year, the flip?
This comes out this year.
Yeah.
It's 2022 for us.
So you'll get people, because with all games, if they've got an Xbox, with all games like Halo and Forza Horizon and Microsoft Flight Sim, and there's loads of big games dropping soon. And Ascent, with all those games coming out, they'll probably just hold this game off and wait till it comes to Game Pass next year. If they've got both consoles, I'd imagine. I don't think they'll spend £60 on this game. If they've got
Is it
both
60
consoles.
or 70? How much is it?
Oh yeah.
They haven't even announced the cost of it
That's
on
it.
the PS5.
If it comes out at £70
knows?
on PS5, ouch.
And 60 on the Series X.
Yeah.
And free on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Basically. I reckon what would be really smart, though, is Game Pass Ultimate. Release that so that people who didn't pick it up on PC at the time, if they want to play it on PC and they've got Game Pass Ultimate, they can.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel bad. Like, I feel like it's getting flack for something that's not its fault.
No.
Like the game is not its fault that it's releasing on the PS5, but happens to be owned by Xbox. Like, it's not its fault. Hey, look at MLB The Show. That was made by a PlayStation 5 dev, and it released on Xbox day one on Game Pass, which was super surprising. But it released, and do you know what? Xbox gamers played it.
Yep, it's one of the most successful games on Game Pass that month. Or the most successful game.
They're not.
It's one of the most bought games. Not people actually buying it on Game Pass. Buying it on Game Pass.
We're not gatekeeping that game. We're not trashing that game because it's made by a PlayStation developer. If anything, it goes to show that Xbox gamers who enjoy games in general and want to play I don't know, softball, baseball game, whatever you want to call it, that they can overlook that petty fact that a certain toxic part of the PlayStation fan base just can't. They can't swallow their pride. They can't turn around and just it just irritates me. I just feel bad for the
It's
title.
another Outer Worlds, isn't it? Where you got Outer Worlds released on PlayStation, and now it's not going to. The next one's not going to. It's going to be exclusive to Xbox. So.
And that trailer, that cheeky trailer Obsidian did, hit the right tone for me.
Yeah.
I will throw money at that game, even with it coming on Game Pass. I want that game.
And they said it's being made on the new engine as well, haven't they? The new one. It's going to have all the new engine.
Yeah,
new engine,
it's got a new engine. And there are going to be people who want to play Obsidian's The Outer Worlds 2.
Yeah.
So their choice is PC or Xbox, because they don't come into PlayStation.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to swallow your pride. Like, what I think is that there'll be that part of the PlayStation demographic or piece maybe that chooses to not pay if this game releases at $70, to not pay that, or even if it releases at $60, to not pay that. But it might give them an excuse to go out and purchase a Series S at some point, and then when that game comes out, they can just pay a low fee for the Game Pass subscription, play it on the Series S. And then they can save the like $70 for a different PlayStation 5 exclusive that they can't get anywhere else. It's about being smart with your money, and I feel like part of their community aren't smart with their money because they just want to one-up everyone.
Yeah, they're so, I don't know, indoctrinated and so in love with Sony. Yeah, they're quite happy to shoot themselves in the foot for Sony. They're quite happy to, cut their noses off to spite their face, basically.
Yep.
So overall,
anyway,
the show. What did you think? So I think that's it, now, isn't it? That's all they showed.
Yeah, that was it. They showed 11 games.
Yeah.
Overall, I haven't really thought about the titles the way and discussed them out loud like this in depth until now. So, I mean, what did I give Xbox?
I mean, both the only two
E3.
titles from that I was excited for and I like the look of is Sifu and Deathloop, and both are coming to Xbox. So
yeah,
that's that really. that's what I mean. So it meant nothing to me. The show.
Yeah, I mean, the show for me was, out of 10, a 2.
Yeah,
and that's saying something. I've even with shit, and I'm saying like shit Xbox shows, I've never given Xbox a 2.
No,
ever.
I'm going to give it a bit more
and
generous.
I know
I'm going to give a 3.
You're going to give it a 3. You're going to be a bit more generous. The reason why I'm being so hard on them, and I think this is a valid point, is they didn't have an E3 this year.
Yeah.
What their last state of play was Horizon Forbidden West extended gameplay.
Yeah.
and their current state of play was 11 games that are mainly indie devs. You can have an indie showcase. You can have a video showing all these different indie games like Xbox does. Yes, they have a set games that they show that are indie, and then they have like an indie showcase video. That's all that needed for these indies, for some of them. Obviously, it was nice to give them a stage and to shed some light on that, because I know that there aren't a lot of other games that PlayStation has to pad in there. But following E3, which you did not attend and you didn't have any equivalent to, you come out with a state of play like this.
Yeah.
That's why you've got a 2 from me. That was the shittiest thing you could have done to your fan base.
And I think what's most shocking is obviously the fans are calling for God of War. Still no God of War, which is, I think, when they first showed that title, I don't think the game's even started. I think it's going to be delayed to 2023. I don't think there's even any gameplay of this game yet. So when they first, I think they lied. When they showed the title for God of War 2021, there is no intention for this game being released in 2021. They absolutely lied, just to draw people in by PS5s. Because how can you, if the game was planned to release in 2021, there must at least be 10 minutes of gameplay that you could, or any gameplay, a minute of gameplay. There must be something, even a cutscene. There must be something. The fact that they still showed nothing when the game's been released this year, the game's not even been.
Yeah, I think you're.
Nothing. Yeah,
I think you're 100% correct there. I mean, we look at the way that PlayStation 4 started off their beginning of their generation, and they had those announcement trailers with just the name or the title. And then how long were those games? How long were people waiting for those games to release before they released anything? So I think this game's been in develop in a little while. But I think you're right.
Same as Gran Turismo. It's odd that they don't show any more Gran Turismo either since the original PlayStation launch thing. Are you still there? You botted then for a moment. I think I've lost you. Oh no. I've lost Red Dead Panda. Oh well, I'll carry on waffling.
Better for your fans. Like, seriously, to turn around and have something to show up after every other company did their E3 stuff. If Xbox had released something like this and they hadn't showed up to E3, everyone would be saying Xbox is done for and dead and finished, and trolling the Xbox fans till the ends of the earth. I am not seeing the majority of Xbox people coming out and trolling PlayStation fans saying we won. Like, that's not happening. People are coming out here and going, what the hell is up with PlayStation? Yes, it was a shit showing, and yes, Xbox did so much better because they actually attended E3 and made E3 awesome. But
what's funny after this?
To come out, I don't know, it's pissing me off. This whole thing's pissing me off.
What's funny after this, and all, you get more and more reading the comments now under the state of play, and people now are asking for Sony to attend E3 because they didn't like this show at all, and they don't like state of plays anymore.
Yep.
And now they're actually asking for Sony to attend E3 because they want to see more stuff like that now. And that's, it's, I knew that'd happen. I knew it'd come. And once Sony have got something to show, they will attend E3. It's just the fact that they've not got anything to show. It's got nothing to do with COVID. They've got no games to show. And it's not anything to do with, they're just trying to save money and things. They've just got nothing to show. And they just don't want to be humiliated like they've done the last E3, where they just done the last E3, if you remember, it was just a rinse repeat of their show before, wasn't it, the year before? They just basically showed all the same games, but just in different order.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, and I think they just didn't want to be humiliated again. But as for God of War, this I don't think you can get that next year. I think you can get a year after. I reckon it's just misleading. They've just lied, and I don't think there's much. I think next year you'll probably eventually get gameplay at E3. Yeah, they won't release that year.
For those who are listening, if you are a PlayStation fan, can you just put in the comment section what you guys thought of State of Play, and whether or not you thought this was the right move to show these titles, following the fact that they haven't shown anything much in relation to, I guess, the PlayStation path. I can't think of the word for it. Their plan that I can't think of the word for it. But it's roadmap. What they're wanting. Yeah, roadmap. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, we haven't seen much of the PlayStation 5 roadmap moving into the future. We know that there are definitely 2 big titles coming. Obviously, there's more. We can speculate and make it very easy to speculate. But seriously, and this leads right into our next topic about padding in their titles because they don't have anything. What's up with the director's cuts for video games,
This
Elite?
this is awful because this is not just fillers. Because fillers are really things like indies and things like that, aren't they? Or what Xbox does, it will get its first party studios to make sort of passion projects like your Bleeding Edges or your Battletoads and stuff like that, or your Grounded. That's their fillers. So still sort of proper games. Sony's
Grounded
version,
was a really good filler, though.
yeah,
It was a really
yeah.
good filler.
So if you tried it again, I've got some achievement. Went back into it the other day and started getting achievements. But the worst thing of this is these ain't fillers. This is just money grabbing. When movies do this, I think it's money grabbing. When you get a director's cut of a movie, it's a desperate money grab because your film's generally not done well, so you re-release it again. I mean, the Death Stranding released 2 years ago, is it? And now we're getting
I don't know.
a director's cut version. Firstly, Xbox games get slaughtered for releasing, in brackets, incomplete. But surely director's cuts, if there's now a director's cuts version of these games, that means the original games weren't complete. Surely means that. That means there's been stuff taken out of it to be introduced later on to just pad out a new version of the game. Plus these games are going to be 60, so 2 years ago you paid 60 quid for a game, and now they want you to pay £70 because it's just got a PS5 version. The same as Ghost of Tsushima. And then we know Last of Us 2 is going to be a director's cut version as well.
Yeah. Well, what's the amount? Like, if you've got it on the PS4 and you want to upgrade to the PS5 version, isn't it like you have to pay for your upgrade?
Yeah, $10, isn't it? You have to pay $10. Because they've got no smart delivery, because that wasn't important apparently to next gen, to be able to have games that automatically update.
They have their smart delivery. They have their PlayStation fans who are smartly delivering them more money for a game that they already own.
That is it. That's in a nutshell, yeah. Sony know their fans are stupidly loyal.
Their smart delivery for the payers, right? For the payers.
We'll give them.
Yeah.
Should we upgrade this game? Yeah, let's upgrade it, but charge them for it. Okay, yeah, nice one. No, they'll kick back on that. Oh no, they won't. You met our fans? They're stupidly loyal, and you wouldn't be this loyal to any other company on the planet. You know what I mean? If you imagine you went into a shop and sort of, can I buy some trainers? Yeah, sure. And they give you the trainers over, and you go to a point and you realise the shoelaces not in it. You go, oh, a couple of shoelaces? Yeah, that'd be an extra $10, please. Oh, okay. You just would not go back.
Yeah, maybe if the game had like a cult following and was like 7 years old or something, would you probably want to go, hey, let's do something nice for the fans and let's release a newer version which is even better, and we're gonna add some extra stuff in that hit the cutting room floor, and there probably would have been a lot for Death Stranding, let's be honest. But for these games to be so recent, and then to have a PS5 version that you have to pay an upgrade for, like, yes, I understand you're adding other things in, but they shouldn't have to pay for just, I guess, quality of life features, like better frame rate, better resolution, better load times, because that's all included up in that, and that should be free automatically. Maybe additional content, just go, hey, for those who've stuck around with us and been loyal, you get some access to some free content. If you want to pay a little bit more, you can for
that
something else.
That should be free as well. It's free on Xbox.
It should be free, in my opinion. It should be free.
New content's free. State of Decay DLC keeps coming out free.
Grounded's still in early access though.
Yeah, Sea of Thieves, all the massive update they did recently with Johnny Depp and the Jack Sparrow thing, all free. Everything Xbox does is free. All free updates. Sony are like, we're going to charge you for these little updates and improvements in the game. It's ridiculous.
It's in stark contrast, absolute stark contrast to what Xbox is doing. You're 100% right. Like, there is a level of optimism and positivity in the gaming community, and specifically within Xbox's circles, and PC gamers are getting some of that because they are involved with Game Pass Ultimate, or just Game Pass for PC, whatever. But PlayStation is just they're just getting a lot of bad press, and people are picking up on things that they aren't doing and they haven't got around to. You and I were talking about at the beginning, before we even got on to the podcast, was the fact that there's still no release date or announcement for a release date or an intention of when they are going to be doing announcing the availability for the M.2 drive expansion slot that is on the PS5, which does not have equivalent cooling, in my opinion, and I feel like that is why it has not been announced for release. And they said they were going to do it in summer. Now, summer for me, obviously, I'm in the southern hemisphere, so it's actually winter. So, but everyone in the northern hemisphere, it would be summer right now, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Where's the expansion slot? Yeah. Why couldn't they announce this at this state of play?
PS5 was one big fat lie by Cerny and old Jim. Let's be honest, one big fat giant lie. Not heard from the fellow again, old Cerny, even though he said during his presentation for PS5 that he will get more into this, more into that later. I'll get more into this and that at a later stage. That's what he said, and he's going to
talk about it on the PS6.
Yeah.
He's going to talk about it on the PS6. I guarantee you. We're going to hear more about it on the PS6.
Which he said he'd tell me about. He said he'd explain all the calling systems to me and everything, and he didn't. He just vanished.
Oh, you didn't get his call?
No, yeah, exactly, yeah.
He called me direct.
No, yeah.
But back onto this director's cut thing. Ghost of Tsushima, sorry. I don't think this needs to be a director's cut. I think just release it. Obviously, they'll probably do it like the whole Game of the Year edition.
I'll tell you what they should do.
That's what they're doing, right?
They should do it, but put it in PS Plus. Just put it free in PS Plus. Don't sell it. Put it in PS Plus. So those that do want to play a director's cut version can subscribe to PS Plus and play it. That simple. Do not sell this game for 70 odd quid or more.
That's getting your $10 worth out, and you're probably going to get more than $10 worth because they'll probably stay in the subscription service. Because hey, why would I bother with my PS4 version? Yeah. Obviously, but this is the funny things I've heard is that if you're playing a game on the PS4, right, and you move your save up to the PS5 version, you can't go back to your PS4 version to play it. Unlike Xbox, where if I was playing Diablo 3 on my Series X or my Series S, I could go to anyone's Xbox One, anyone's Xbox One X. I could go to anyone who's playing on PC with that game through the Xbox launcher, and I could get my save file, and it's cross-progression, cross-platform, cross-generation in that regard. But you can't do that on the PlayStation ecosystem. If you go and upgrade your save, because they have a stupid infrastructure and they didn't think about it.
It's because PlayStation 5 actually isn't really a next-generation console, is it? It's not much better than the PS4 Pro, let's be honest here. It isn't much better than the PS4 Pro.
It's not really cross-gen backward compatibility.
It's got loads of things it's not capable of doing. Loads of things it's not capable of doing. It's a terrible machine. So if you wanted to get all the trophies, you'd have to finish your PS4 version, and then if you want to get the trophies again on the PS5 version, you can, because then you're not playing the backwards compatibility, blah blah blah. But I don't know, Death Stranding director's cut. That I believe that probably deserves a director's cut, in the idea that, like I said, a lot of the stuff would have been on the cutting room floor, and they left so much out. Like I said, Death Stranding felt like an empty, unfinished game. Yes, it looked pretty. Yes, it was by Kojima, so everyone had these ridiculous expectations. Yeah. But it didn't feel like it was well-rounded. It didn't feel like it had everything that should have been included in it. It felt like the game was released because PlayStation felt like they needed a win, and they felt like they could release it in that state and get people to pay a shit ton of money for it. And now they're going to get people to pay more money for it to play it in the state it should have released in back in 2018. Yeah. Do you think also this is a grasp by Sony because they're worried about losing Kojima to Xbox? Because there's talk about him making a game for Xbox, and they're pretty much like, don't leave, look, we'll release a director's cut version of your game and we'll make you more money. Don't leave us. Do you think it's that?
No, I feel like this has been something that's in the works for a while, and I felt like as soon as they made Kojima aware that there was a PS5 that they wanted this game to be able to run on the PS5, they probably asked him at that point to set up a PS5 version. He probably thought, yes, this gives me a chance to take advantage of some of the things I wanted to do and I didn't have time to do. Yeah. And then when they saw what he'd done with it, they were like, we can make more money off this game.
Bottom line though, this is nothing new from Sony, because The Last of Us, they remastered that game. The game was less than a year old and they remastered it. So it's...
Well, it went from PS3 to PS4, right?
Yeah. within a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, they done a remastered Last of Us 2 within a year.
Then they did a pro patch, and it's backwards compatible
Yeah.
on the PS5, and then Last of Us Part 2. I agree 100% with you thinking that the next one we're going to hear as a director's cut will be Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah, they will do. Yeah, and then we'll probably hear next of a reboot of the whole thing franchise.
Well, do you reckon that they would just do a director's cut with The Last of Us Part 2 inclusive of The Last of Us Part 1? Because we know that there's the multiplayer coming, and they're going to have to figure out a way to make more money off that.
Do you remember that?
Well, it's rumoured to be coming.
Isn't
there a new... There's an Uncharted remake coming, right?
I reckon there's not multiplayer coming to it. I'm thinking that was another lie, and because they've gone quiet about it now, as if they're just trying to hope people forget. Because the game's 2 years old now, isn't it? I don't think they just want people to forget about it. No, it didn't. Never happened. We never mentioned multiplayer.
Oh, it came out last year. It's a year old.
Oh, it's a year old. Yeah, but still no multiplayer. Yeah. Come on. How hard can multiplayer be to unless they're going to re-release the entire game again with multiplayer? That'd be their director's cut version. Director's cut version. It has multiplayer. That's something you should have for it anyway. You know what I mean? This is something you introduce to the original game, not pay for
should have
multiplayer.
Been done at launch.
Yeah, should have done at launch. Or do what Halo does. It's free. Multiplayer's free for Halo Infinite. Don't even need the campaign version.
That they're not releasing, like, obviously there are people who they have ambitions for games and they realise, hey, if we want to release with what it is as it is, and then we can, and then we'll release stuff later on as DLC. But I feel like it's not even that. It's just quality of life features that should have been in the games in the first place. And I would be saying about this with if Xbox started doing director's cuts, I'd be like, oh, I didn't realize we were watching a movie. Obviously, now we know how story-driven PlayStation games with their third-person walking RPG, whatever you want to call it, style game, post-apocalyptic, all of those sort of things. They're very, I guess, cinematic. So much cinematic that everyone loves them at 30 FPS, and I don't get that. But now that we're calling them director's cuts, it's so weird.
You know what director's cut tells me? That they're just going to add more cutscenes. They're not going to have more gameplay. They're just going to add more cutscenes to it to make it more of a movie. That's what it can only be, can't it? Surely they can't add more gameplay.
I think it might be that there'll be extended scenes that show more of the story that weren't in there before. Yeah. So I don't think you'll see a lot more added in scenes. I think you'll see a lot more extended scenes, which probably mold the story in a different way. And I think the game that will benefit the most from extended cutscenes would probably be The Last of Us Part 2, to be honest. I think that game they really pissed off their fan base with that game, and I feel like they have a lot to own up to.
But you know what they'll be waving around
about that? Yeah.
If it gets a Game of the Year award, the cutscene, the director's cut, or which would be awful, which will show the if it didn't, well, it wasn't shown enough last time with God of War and The Last of Us 2 getting a Game of the Year award. If like a director's cut version of a game gets it, that'd be it. That'd be the nail in the coffin, wouldn't it? Definitely. You can't give game awards to.
I think that would be utter rioting in our gaming community. I think, regardless of where you are, I feel like there will be aspects of the community that will think it's fair.
Yeah.
Based on what requirements
one side
are there,
fair,
and then there'll be aspects of the community, and I'll be part of the community that thinks that is just rubbish and bullshit and shouldn't be allowed. The games existed before. It'd be like if Nintendo re-released Ocarina of Time and Ocarina of Time took Game of the Year. I'll be like, it took Game of the Year back then. It's just a re-release of a game that already came out. Doesn't deserve Game of the Year.
No, it can't be. Yeah, that's what I see happening. Because Sony liked it, and Sony also the Metacritic. They'd be waving the Metacritic award for it, waving that around its score, wouldn't they? It'd probably rate in the high 80s, 90s. And they'd be waving that around yet again. Oh look, another great game. It was a game that released 2 years ago. It's just re-released the same game. So yeah, that's what they do. A lot of the remasters, you notice, the PlayStation, they just copy paste the last score.
I think PlayStation's been resting on their laurels for too long, and I feel like they got complacent like they did
when the fans let them.
With the PS2, and when they released the PS3, they really fucked up, and then they came back from the errors of their ways, and then bam, they're right back on on just taking the mickey and
Arrogance,
taking the
yeah.
piss, and like, yeah, they're arrogant.
Because their fans allow them to do it. The fans actually want them to do it. If you listen, the hardcore fans actually want them to be like this.
Well, if your
is weird.
fans aren't telling you to do better,
Yeah,
are you going to do better?
yeah,
Like, who's driving you? Like, Phil saw there was a problem, and they weren't 100%. They went behind what the 2013 launch team did with the direction of Xbox. Obviously, they knew that technology-wise, that's where the direction of Xbox was going. But the fact that TV happened, I think it was just the wrong direction to show gamers after how successful the 360 had been
game-wise, yeah.
for them in the
Far more
generation,
successful
and
than
it was
PlayStation 3 game-wise.
yeah, and it was all about video games, and then they did a 180 in their arrogance, and they rested on their laurels. And that's one thing that we have to make sure for this generation is that we don't let Xbox rest on their laurels. We keep asking for better, and we don't let them become arrogant. Because what's really hard for me right now, and it's going to sound really weird, is just because we're so bitter as Xbox fans based on how we were treated by a community, by the journalists and all of that. We are quite bitter, and we are turning their statements against them and using it as firepower and ammo, and for it's humble pie and it's well deserved, but it's also really hard to see that we as a community are also falling into the same tropes as they did last generation, and we're really just trying to one up them when we don't need to one up them. They're letting us do that themselves. I mean, we're well above where they are, and we deserve to just kind of enjoy this, and we don't need to rub their faces in it. I feel like we are. I mean, it's deserved. It is well deserved. I definitely feel like some of the community definitely needs a shit ton of humble pie, because they were absolute assholes to the Xbox community.
And it's watching people getting the big PS fanboy.
I don't think we need to be as
the big. It's funny watching on Twitter now. The big PS fanboy communities like crack gamers, and your MGBs and that being absolutely called out and receipted with all their stuff they're coming out with lately, because they've been damage controlling and everyone's calling them out, and it's just hilarious watching them guys getting destroyed. And did you watch Griffin?
They're the ones who
Griffin versus Supernova.
Oh no!
Send me the link. Debate. Yeah, I'll do that. They had a debate, and Griffin absolutely destroyed Supernova and shamed him. And Supernova's gone sort of quiet into hiding there. Got absolutely destroyed in the debate and just shamed. I'll send you a link to it. It's
That's
hilarious.
because Supernova was like, if they give me 60, I'm gonna choose 30.
Yeah, I think he destroyed him on it. Yeah, destroyed him on it. Yeah.
Oh my fucking god!
Destroyed him on loads of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I bleed green, guys. It's my favorite color, but I still feel like we should be above their crap, because most of these
are PC gamers that call it out.
They are babies.
The PC fanboy. You've watched a lot of YouTube now. A lot of YouTube is PC guys making videos of just mocking PS4 players, PS players now, just destroying them, because there's got so much receipts and ammunition on. The YouTube's channels are just booming now with memes of, and just pulling out PlayStation fanboys. Yeah, they look stupid, and then there's whole YouTube channel based around them there.
It's what happens when you talk a lot of crap and you don't know what the hell you're talking about. You don't do your research. You don't understand what's happening in another community or on other devices and such, and you choose to open your mouth, and someone's going to shut it for you, and that's just facts. So
Right, so I think we'll round it up there. I think we just got over the hour mark. So please put in the comments below.
I think this was very civil.
Yeah,
today.
It was very
good.
We
were pretty civil today, right?
Yeah, it was very good.
Thanks for coming here, guys.
Yeah, thanks
and
for coming.
listening to us.
Please share this out on Twitter and share it around as much as you can. We want to get this out.
Hit the like button.
The like button and the share button and the sub button. And pop over to Red Dead's channel. Please chuck a sub there. Thank you for watching. Please comment below. Keep it. If you're going to want to debate, but just don't be all toxic. I'll just delete it, basically. So thank you all for watching. And goodbye for now.
Bye, guys.